If you're over 50 and thinking about letting somebody in your life, getting close to you, dating, entering into any kind of serious relationship, we need to talk. You need to hear this. There's going to be a lot of information here for young people as well, but Lord knows they won't listen. The truth is, we're all human beings. We get lonely, and this is especially true if you've been married for a long time and then later in life you got a divorce or there was a passing. If that's the case, there's a very good chance you're going to be in a more emotionally vulnerable place. Living with someone, being in a relationship, and having a partner there, it's what you're used to. You're going to want to go back to your comfort level and what feels normal and natural to you. I've got a story about something that happened to one of my really close friends, and I don't want it to happen to you. My friend was married. It was actually a parent of my best friend, and she's about 20 years older than me. Her and her husband had their whole life planned out, what they were going to do after retirement. Well, he retired in his early 60s. Shortly after that, got cancer, and passed within a year. All the plans went down the drain. Naturally, my friend's mom, it was a huge, huge adjustment. And for several years after that, naturally, she just wanted to get back to what she was familiar with, normal. It's natural to feel that way as a human being. Of course, we can't replace our spouses and loved ones when they pass, but it's natural to yearn for and desperately want what we're familiar with. After a year or so, she started dating. She was in her early 60s. She liked to wear her jewelry and look really nice when she went out, but honestly, she frequently looked like she had some money. One day, she met a guy. He was about her age. He was working in the area where she lived, doing some construction. Well, next thing you know, they started dating. Well, fine, well, and good. She's happy and has a companion. Further down the road, they ended up getting married. It turns out this guy was not financially anywhere near the same place she was at. And basically, I don't know what other word to use except to say he was a bit of a predator, a financial predator. He saw her emotional vulnerability, her needs, her depression, all of it. He saw it from a mile away. And boy, did he capitalize on it. And unfortunately, she got married to him. She had to end up getting a divorce in her early 70s to avoid complete financial ruin from this guy. And then, because she was the one that was better off financially, and at the time of their divorce, he had some health issues, she ended up having to pay alimony. Can you believe this? Just what she needed in her 70s, a friggin' divorce and paying alimony to this clown. You do not want that to happen. Maybe you even have seen this happen to yourself, some relatives, or it's happening now. Let me know down in the comments if you've got some advice for the community. This whole situation could have been avoided. We tried to speak up a little bit, but it didn't go well. We were seen as being negative or not supportive. She was happy. It's a tough situation when you see this happening and you see the path somebody is on. A number one way to avoid this kind of thing when you're young or even when you're older is the concept of evenly yoked. Do you know what that is? It's an old farming term. It references the oxen. You want two big oxen going in the yoke if they've got to go pull the cart and do some work. If one of those oxen is a lot smaller and weaker, guess who's going to get stuck carrying the burden? You got it, the big one. The same thing holds true with these relationships. If you're the one who's more financially stable, you're showing the money that you have with your nice car, the nice house you're living in, you can be a target. Don't make yourself the target. These people out there, they're desperate because they've made a financial mess of their lives and they're looking for somebody to care for them. And they can smell the desperation a mile away. There's no shame in being an emotionally vulnerable human being, but you need to protect yourself. We all go through those kind of things, especially after loss. It's only natural to want some human connection, go back to what you're familiar with, but you need to protect yourself. You need to have your eyes wide open. If you're going to be with someone, make sure that you're evenly yoked. They're in roughly the same stability and financial place as you are, or it's not going to work. The only way it will work, if you're Cher or Bill Belichick, you're running around with somebody 30, 40 years younger than you because you got a lot of coins. Well, if you want to make that decision and do that, you can. No judgment, no shame. Have at it. But you need to have your eyes wide open and know what the game is you're playing and what you're dealing with. That's usually not the case when you're in an emotionally vulnerable place and one of these financial predators comes your way. They know what they're dealing with and they know how to manipulate you. You want to make sure that you're evenly yoked. If not, it's going to become very unbalanced and even possibly financially or even physically, God forbid, dangerous, and you're in a vulnerable place and it can go downhill real fast. When you're emotionally vulnerable, you're susceptible to these people that do not have your best interest at heart. Some red flags to look out for: someone who's just what you want them to be. They're love bombing you with everything being just right. It's amazing. You feel like $1,000,000, like almost like you're on a medication or a drug or something. They make you feel so good. They're always there. They're so nice. They're so supportive. They just want to help with everything. They're amazing. They're so funny. Come here. Come here. A little bit closer. Come in a little closer. Snap out of it. When somebody's just what you want them to be, whew, red flag. We're not kids anymore. We're not 16. You got to wake up. You've worked your whole life for this stability. Maybe your spouse, who's no longer here, worked their whole life to provide for you. Some clown can take this just like that. I've seen it happen, and I don't want it to happen to you. It's enough. These predators make me sick. I'm not saying you shouldn't date or get into relationships, but you need to have your eyes wide open. You can't approach these things like a 16-year-old anymore. This kind of situation can happen to men and women. I've seen it happen to both, and I don't want it happening to anybody. You need to vet these people hard. And if you've got a friend or family member that's expressing a lot of concerns, saying, hey, I think I see some red flags, please listen to them. They have your best interest in heart. They've known you for years. Keep your finances separated. We're older now. There's no need to start putting everything together and creating a big mess. Live your life. Enjoy each other's company. Keep things separated. If you're going to take trips, you know what? They pay for theirs, you pay for yours. Yeah, sure, you can treat for a dinner or something like that. But early on in the relationship, you're all excited. You want to take this trip. You've got the funds to provide. They don't. All right, listen, if you want to pay for them because you just love the company and think the trip would be fine, that's okay. But you need to have your eyes wide open. Know that you're throwing money out there, you're paying for something. Don't expect to get it back. Take it for what it is. Have your eyes open. If you can afford to do this, have at it. Build friendship first. Take it slow and don't go rushing into anything. And if you find yourself thinking that you want to get married again, talk to an attorney. Just get your affairs in order. A friend of mine, a Sicilian older gentleman, used to tell me, don't give people the opportunity to do the wrong thing. Wiser words never said. If you're going to get married and you're older and you've got a lot of assets, even if you have a few assets, have a chat with an attorney to keep yourself protected. What have you got to lose except everything? Listen, being alone is way better than somebody using you and taking you for a ride and destroying your life. Remember what I told you about my friend, 70 years old, paying alimony to another 70-something-year-old that she wasn't even married to for that long? That's a freaking nightmare. You can find love and companionship later in life. And if that's what you want, I'd wish that for you. But keep your eyes wide open and don't bring any craziness and drama onto yourself. Life is very transactional. People in general are looking for something they need, and somebody else is there to give it to them, but they want something in return. That's just life. So, in these later relationships, put your emotional self to the side, get out your pure thinking self, and ask yourself what the transactional pieces are in these relationships. That may sound harsh, but this is a reality that I've experienced. Let me know what you guys have experienced out there. Don't mistake loneliness for love. Don't mistake kindness for trust. Don't give anybody the opportunity to do the wrong thing. Protect yourself. Belts and suspenders. If you haven't already, check out my video on living alone later in life.